Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mike Kollin at MikeKollin.com. Merry Christmas, everyone. So, I'm going to talk a little bit about, maybe not about it, but this is where I get this from. The scene where Jesus walks out to the well and waits for the Samaritan woman. You know, it's one of my favorite scenes because it really says it all. Like, this is what it's all about. You know, I hate to even use the word, but because I don't mean it in this way, but people make up, okay, I'm going to use people. People make up rules and say you must abide by these rules because we made them up. So Jesus is out there and she's getting the water and he's asking for water and she essentially goes, oh, wow, you must be not desperate, but really parched in what it does to you. Because she's saying, you know, you're asking from a lowly Samaritan woman and she's being bitter, and I don't blame her at all. Now, when Jesus is trying to let her know, like, I am the Messiah, she misunderstood what he was doing. He was simply saying, you know, I know about your first husband. He smelled like oranges and this and this and that, and you really miss him. And he was the one you wish you never left because he was the only truly godly or spiritual man. And then he went on to name a couple other men, and then he says, the man you're living with isn't your husband. So she thought he was basically judging her and condemning her, as most people did and do. So Jesus was merely trying to identify himself to her to prove that, hey, I am the Messiah. I am the one that you speak of. So he comes to say, I'm here to get rid of that, not bring more of that. And he also said something else. It was about prayer, and she said, you know, well, you Jews, you know, you say the only place we can pray is, you know, at the synagogue and blah blah blah, but we're not allowed to go there because we're the not the unclean, but the Samaritans. But there's another word they had for what they considered those people. And she goes, you know, she said, oh, I'm watching it right now. She did say, aren't I unclean to you? And I think she said, you know, do you think you're better than our ancestor Jacob, who dug this well? She says, our ancestors worshipped on this mountain. She says, but you Jews insist that Jerusalem is the only true place to worship. Now, Jesus said, I did not come here to do that. And because she said, you know, oh, so you're here to condemn me. And what I'm trying to say here is pretty simple, actually. I'm going to get to the next piece here. God didn't come, Jesus didn't come to condemn people, to hurt people, to control people, to manipulate people. And what she says right there is very telling about mankind, humans. Is a group of people comes along that are bigger than the other group and say, yeah, you can't worship on this mountain. The only two places in Jerusalem. You have to come here to worship. And then I think she says that we're not allowed there. So where do we worship? Where do we go? So Jesus says the time will come where you will neither worship on this mountain or in Jerusalem of the Father. So she says, where do I go when I need to worship the Father? So Jesus says, anywhere. God is spirit, and the time is here. That it won't matter where you worship, but only that you do it in spirit and truth. See, he's saying you don't need to go to a building, a church, a mountain. It's not like there's a designated location that we said, okay, you can worship God there. He's saying you can do it in your heart, in your soul, as long as you do it in spirit, meaning become spiritual and do it in truth. Well, the problem with that is it makes you free to worship God anywhere, anytime you want to, and the people who want to control you, they lose their control. Now, the left brain's the control brain, so I one of the things that's kind of stimulated this, because I came into this video after this, the one where Jesus is with the Samaritan woman by the well. There is this commercial on YouTube, and it's a guy, Israeli, and he's talking very masculine, very controlling, and there's a spiritual awakening, and I'm almost laughing at the guy. He's like, well, you're not awake, though, so what are you talking about? And he shows images of people coming back into the temple, and it's just like, that's not a spiritual awakening. But this is the trick that's happening, is people are being told, oh, come back into the buildings, come back into the church, come back into the religion and conform to the way we want you to conform. So that is not a spiritual awakening. Call it a religious revival. In and of itself, I don't care, but I think it's very manipulative to tell people that this is a spiritual awakening. When you have a spiritual awakening, you will know. There is hands down no two ways. I mean, it's just like it is. You cannot put it into words. When you have a spiritual awakening, you absolutely 100,000% will know. And it's not going to a church. It's not going into a building. It's not singing, songs with people, which is nice. That's all nice. There's nothing wrong with gathering with people. But when you have what I'm trying to make sure there's a distinction is, people are beginning to use this word to get people to go back to sleep. Oh, come to our church and have a spiritual awakening. Yeah, that's not the way it works. So in this video, there is this Jesus with the Samaritan woman. There is it's on Facebook. So on the upper right, there is a passage that says, Jesus answered, "Everyone who drinks this water will be thirsty again, but whoever drinks the water that I give them will never thirst. Indeed, the water I give them will become in them a spring of water welling up to eternal life." John 4:13-14. Now, I have to be honest with you. For the longest time, this passage never really made sense to me. What do you mean, like, but whoever drinks the water I give them will never thirst again? I mean, I kind of understood on a logical level, like, yeah, it means you're going to be spiritual or, something like that. But I really, really understand this on a deep, deep level now. Okay, so if you'd followed my channel for a while now, you may have heard me say something. It's a realization we learn in NLP about people having completely different perspectives and understandings and give different meanings to the same words, and we are all seeing the world and each event from a completely radically different perspective. And the police will say this, you can have 3, 4, 5 people literally standing side by side watching an accident happen, and they will all give you a radically different perspective of what actually happened, even though they were looking from the same distance, angle, lighting, everything, and they were literally standing next to each other. Now, I bring it up on this channel because this essentially was a narcissist channel, and I'm kind of going into that right now. And the problem with empaths, until you grow, and I think a lot of you have been growing and learning hard lessons, like, hey, don't be nice to people all the time, and don't be nice to people that are mean to you. Like, you've got to learn to put up your boundaries, etc., etc. And so, one of the things that's a challenge for empaths is we for the life of us couldn't imagine that for no reason at all somebody would want to hurt you. It's just like, that doesn't make our brain, like, that doesn't make any sense. So the typical response of an empath is when someone damages them, hurts them, gets them fired from a job, or poisons them, or does much worse things. Their response is, well, I'm just going to be nice to them and love them, because eventually they'll figure out, I'm not their enemy. Because that's the way an empath looks at things. Well, as long as I keep showing them I'm a good person, they'll come around. They'll realize, like, oh, they're a good person. They're not my enemy. So now I'm going to be nice. It's like, no, that's not the way it works with these people. So our whole perspective is about loving, being good to people, helping people, healing people, helping people, total strangers. And we as human beings, okay, we all, not just empaths, but everyone projects onto everyone else that, well, this, if I'm this way, you must be that way too. And that is just not true at all. This is where empaths, until you truly wake up and realize, like, holy shit, people aren't like me at all. You get taken advantage of a lot. People will lie to you, and you think, well, they must have had a reason. Maybe they had a bad day, or maybe someone lied to them and they felt they had this. And, we sit there and explain it away. And this person's like, what are you doing? I'm trying to hurt you. And the empath's response is like, well, that can't be real. It can't be. And like they're telling you to your face. So I'm going to do a kind of flip here. Now I'm reading this verse about how Jesus says, here, let me just go and read it. He says, but whoever drinks the water I give them will never thirst again. And he says, indeed, the water I give them will become in them a spring of water welling up to eternal life. Now, what does that mean? We have lived a certain way for so long that it's kind of like, when you experience something your whole life, you're like, well, okay, I got a good one. You don't really notice it because you've experienced it. People may even say it to you, and you're just kind of looking at them like, oh, yeah, okay, man, like, whatever. Like, even when you want to understand, you can't. So I grew up in Napa Valley. Went to middle school, high school. I was born there, raised there, etc. Played sports there, and it's all I knew. And that's the word I wanted to use a second ago. It's like it's all you know. So it's like if you were born in water and you've lived in water your whole life, and people are like, wow, it's so wet here, and you're thinking like, what's wet? What do you mean? What is wet? It's like you don't know it, and yet you live it. So Napa Valley is one of the, if not the most beautiful cities and valleys in the entire world. It is absolutely beautiful. Now, here's the thing though. When I was a kid growing up, I didn't know that. Now, I remember in middle school, me and my friends were riding our bicycles, and we ran into someone, I forget who it was, but they weren't from the area, and they're, God, it's so beautiful here, it's so amazing, and we're like, oh, okay, thanks. And, as a kid, I thought people were just being polite. I thought they were just being respectful. That's literally what I thought. And then when people we knew would come in for Christmas or for football games or for summer events, friends or family or, whatever, it's so beautiful. It's all you would hear. I remember, do you remember Falcon's Crest? It was a TV show in I think it was the 80s, maybe going into the early 90s, definitely the 80s. I was at the gas station, and my friend Alan, I think he was 17, I think I was 15, and Alan was working there, and Lorenzo Lamas pulled up in his Porsche. He gets out, and I'm like, no way. He goes, oh yeah, he comes here every week. I'm like, really? He goes, yeah, he's on the set up Valley. I'm like, oh, okay. So he comes in, hey, what's going on? He's talking to me a little bit, talking to Alan, and he looks at me and goes, man, he goes, you are so lucky to live here. And I looked at him and went, why? He goes, it is so beautiful. And I was like, oh, okay, thank you. And he, finished his gas and he took off. And I literally thought he was just being polite. I mean, this guy's been to Europe. He's been to, probably lives in Los Angeles. And I'm thinking, I literally thought he was just being kind. So what happened was I moved here where I live now, about 10 minutes from the Golden Gate Bridge in Marin County, and all I heard was how beautiful it was here, and I'm kind of looking around like, yeah, not really. I mean, yeah, I guess, I've never really thought it was beautiful. Now, when you go to the coast or the Golden Gate Bridge or Sausalito, yeah, there is some beautiful views. So I was here for about 10, maybe 12 years. I never went back home. I don't know why. It's only 35 minutes away from where I live right now. And there was a football banquet, and we all got invited back because we were section champions in high school, and I was the captain of that team, blah, blah, blah. And I remember going back there, and I was like, wow, I was so amazed. I went by the middle school I used to go to, and I was going to my friend's house who didn't live too far from our high school. I drove by the high school. I'm like, God, this is so beautiful. And I remember I went by my house, and then I went up Valley a little bit, and all the vineyards, and I was like, God, it's so beautiful. And I'm like, how come I never noticed this before? I was in complete awe, and I remember telling my friend when I went to his house, God, it's so beautiful. And he's kind of looking at me like, Mike, it's the same house we lived in before. It's the same neighborhood, same trees. And he didn't get it. And I'm kind of grinning thinking, yeah, well, neither did I until I moved away. Now, if you're an empath, you've watched a lot of videos, you have heard how narcissists just hate us. They hate us for our light. It's like, see, I think the problem is that's such a vague term. We're just like, what do you mean they hate us for our light? Like, what does that even mean? Like, oh, okay, there's some kind of spiritual light around me or something, and only they can see it or something. I don't know. And so I realized what that verse says. Let me get it again. Okay. Well, I guess I'm saying I realized what it really means. Everyone who drinks this water will be thirsty again, but whoever drinks the water I give them will never thirst. Indeed, the water I give them will become in them a spring of water welling up to eternal life. So one of the thoughts I had when I don't know what that guy, the Jewish guy was called, trying to bring people back into the temple, into the religion, is I'm like, what does it take to be so damn evil? Because I wasn't really thinking about him, but think about narcissists, where they will say anything. They will take any word or phrase and twist it and be like, no, spiritual awakening means coming back to the church. Like, no, it doesn't. But regardless, the gaslighting they do, they purposely will damage you and hurt you. And to your face, they act like they're your friend because they want you to keep coming back, because they want to damage you. They want to destroy you. And all you've done has been kind, nice, and polite and loving. And the empath's brain goes, well, that person would never hurt me. I've been so kind to them. And your friends, or maybe their friends, are going, dude, this guy's been talking shit behind your back. And like, no, why would they say that? So you go to the narcissist and, hey, so-and-so said that you said this about me. He's like, oh, that guy's just messing with you, man. No, I didn't say that. Oh, he's just being weird. Deflect. So that's what I'm talking about. It dawned on me, like, how depraved, how sick do you have to be to do stuff like that to people? Like my mother started beating me when I was 8 months old with a leather belt. And I don't mean once, I mean for over a decade. And she burned my hand on the stove when I was 10 years old. Like, how sick and depraved do you have to be to do something? And here's the thing, you're thinking, well, that's only two things, that's not that. No, this was a nightmare that went on forever until I finally moved away when I was 31 years old. When I was 20 years old, I asked her, why did you do that? She said, till the day I die, I will do everything in my power to destroy you. She goes, I don't want you to be poor. I want you to be homeless. She goes, I don't want you to be homeless. I want you to be literally living in the gutter. She flat out admitted, she goes, yeah, I burned your hand on the stove on purpose because I was trying to make sure you never succeeded in sports. You would have thought after 20 plus years of being beaten, tortured, and backstabbed and screwed over that I would be like, hearing that, okay, that's it, I'm done. And I didn't. My empathic brain couldn't even comprehend that a mother would actually think that. So I literally told myself I must have misunderstood her. And I had to go to my sister's house the next day and bring up and say, hey, here's what Mom said. Well, what do you think she meant? And she's laughing. She goes, oh, we had a good laugh about this over lunch. I'm like, what are you talking about? She goes, oh, Mom came over and she told me everything she said to you, how you were crying. And I'm like, why is that funny? Like the empathic, see, this is my point. We see the world from our perspective, not just empaths or light workers or everyone, even narcissists. See, narcissists truly believe, this is going to blow your mind if you haven't heard this, they think everyone thinks the way they think. They think that everyone is angry and hurt and pissed off and jealous of everyone, and everyone's trying to get over on one another and stab each other in the back. So they're like, well, Mike, this is the game. Like, no, it's only the game that you guys play. But right there, like, he's trying to trick me right now. In a million years, they couldn't even fathom the possibility that there are actually good people out there that actually are kind and caring. They don't believe that. They think that's part of their game. And yet they come to us whenever they need love, support, and caring. And I remember pointing that out to one time, and this narcissist kind of got real quiet, like, man, that's true, huh? I was like, why don't you go to that person? Like, well, because they're mean to me. I'm like, so why do you come to me if everyone's mean and playing games? He went, huh. Now, I'm going to go back to that verse because this is my entire point. You have this well of water in you that wells over, that the spring water wells over. You're never thirsty. Now here's what I mean. You're always full of love, even when you got hurt, even when people stabbed you and did the worst things in the world to you, and shamed you, humiliated you. All you want to do is love them. That's what the narcissist is jealous about. Love is always in you, even when you've been damaged on purpose. You have something that they don't have. And that's what's hard for you to fathom. You think that everyone has this love in you. You have been in Napa Valley so long you don't even realize how beautiful it is. You were born in the water and you don't even know what water is. You've never been thirsty. But you don't know that because you've never been thirsty. You don't know what it's like to be empty like that. That's what it takes for them to be so depraved. Do you want to know why they're attacking you? You want to know what the real reason is? They're trying to kill the love in you because they're so jealous and so hateful of it. And when they don't kill it, they don't understand why it doesn't go away in you. Now, don't get me wrong, you know what pain and suffering is beyond anyone, way beyond any narcissist has ever experienced. Because you've been attacked and hurt and damaged your entire life. Because these people look at you and they're like, I don't understand. Like how do they do it? Like, what? And you're like, what do you, and it'll be while you're crying. Because when you cry, you're crying from tears of emotion. They're crying tears of hate. So even while you're in the moments of being damaged and falling apart and crying, they're just like, I don't get it. They're in their worst place in their life, and yet they're still coming from their heart. They can't fathom that. They don't understand it, and it enrages them. And believe it or not, but this is what completely destroys them. When they see after everything they've thrown at you, even when you are having a nervous breakdown, even when you are crying, even when you are falling apart, they can see that you're still coming from your heart. It destroys them. I know it doesn't make sense to you at all, does it? Here's the deal. They're not going to be nice to you. Even after okay, here's the deal. They get angrier when they're seeing how destroyed you are, and yet you're still coming from your heart. Even when here's the deal. You don't know it. I'm in the Napa Valley not knowing how beautiful it is. I just, even when I'm being destroyed, I still don't see it. You are the ones Christ spoke about. You have the living water inside you. This is why you've never thirsted. And I'm telling you something, you don't know that. You can't until you are empty, and I mean completely empty of spirit. You'll never know what that really means. Now, a lot of you had a really dark experience when it's called the Great Wall of China, what I call you isolate, and you felt complete darkness and emptiness. If you went to the stage where you felt like you lost complete connection with Spirit and God, that's about as close as you're ever going to get to understanding where they've lived at their entire life. So just know that you have the living water in you, that God loves you permanently and forever, and God did not come to condemn you. God's not here to judge you. God loves you, and here's the thing: you are a living, not just example. You are an actual living entity, reality, being of God, and an example of what God is and the way God is. Pure love. And from now on, you have every right to defend yourselves, protect yourselves, to go cold against narcissists, to do whatever it takes to fight back, to protect yourself, etc. You do not fall for the trick. Oh, I thought you were a loving person. Because here's the highest honor: to protect yourself, because God is inside you. God is the living water. Your job is to protect that, because that spirit is very sensitive. When you feel that pain, when someone hurts you, that's God. Your job is to protect that part of you. God is like a sensitive infant. The most honorable thing you can do is protect the spirit within. That is your number one job. Put on the whole thing, put on the armor of God. That's your job. See, once you protect that spirit inside you, it begins to connect with you and you can understand it. It'll guide you. It'll lead you to more prosperity, to better love and greater intuition, etc., etc. So your number one job is to defend yourself, to protect yourself from anyone who's trying to hurt you emotionally, because your spirit and your soul are emotions. See, when you begin to protect yourself, something clicks inside. I'm telling you, there's a light that begins to glow. The more you protect it, the greater it glows, the more powerful you become. When I started doing this, when I started protecting myself, something changed inside. And it started to trust me. And that's when it's like a dog that gets beaten and beaten and beaten. The minute you begin to protect it, it slowly starts to trust you again. And that's why you have to protect your emotions. Because your intuition will grow beyond anything you have ever imagined. And that's what a narcissist's number one fear is. They don't want you to connect to your intuition. Call it spirit, call it God, call it intuition. They don't want you to do that. This is your duty, your honorable duty. I am trying to get across that this is what you're supposed to do. You are not supposed to lower your guard around these people ever again at all. Your job is to protect the God within you, the Spirit of God inside you, so you can reconnect with it. That is your sole job. If I were to leave you with one message, connect with God, connect with God, connect with God. Spend time alone with God. Church is fine, synagogue's fine, temple's fine, but you really, really need to spend time with God in your heart. God bless you guys. I hope you guys had a Merry Christmas. Remember, my books are on sale, an extra 40% off on any of my dating relationship books. Just use the one word, return to power as the code. And from now till the 31st of December, I'm doing one-on-one coaching for only $79. Normally it's $250 per session. Remember, click subscribe, click the like button, go ahead and make a comment, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.